Earl, you wanna go first? Let's talk about some of the projects Washington DOT has on the horizon and how we can help small minority contractors participate in those projects.
Absolutely. As Bobby's the mega programs manager, I'd let him go right ahead.
Well, I can speak specifically to WashDOT's mega programs. It's a series of programs that affect three major corridors, 405 corridor to the east, work that's coming all the way from Auburn. Oh, sorry, thank you, thank you. Hopefully I won't miss too many details. Usually we have our project engineers that are leading these kinds of discussions, but I'll do the best that I can. But just a little bit about myself and the work that I do in support of our director, Earl Key, is both the development of contract terms, conditions, oversight, monitoring, and enforcement on our mega programs. And the mega programs are part of Washington State Department of Transportation large-scale projects. They include three major corridors, as I mentioned earlier. They include the 405 corridor, that starts down south to Auburn, all the way up to, boy, trying to think how far, so we keep extending it. But there are several projects on that corridor. There's actually about 5 that are active right now. Either they're actually in contract or awarded contracts. Those contracts can range from $700 million to $900 million for our latest contract award, which we refer to as the Brickyard. And actually, I think that was awarded $830 million. And then the 520 corridor that comes east from Bellevue across the lake and connects up with I-5. That's another major corridor, one of our largest projects that is still in the process of about $900 million. We call that our Portage Bay contract. And then going south, from about the airport on SR 509, we call our Gateway program. We have 3 major projects that are active right now. Again, those projects range in anywhere from 300 to 500 million. Those are federally funded projects, so federal requirements address that. And then there's another assortment of projects that I work on personally in support of Director Key, which are our ferries projects, both vessels and terminals. One that you can see right down there, it's about ready to go complete, which is Coleman. And then, of course, one of our biggest projects, which is the New State Bridge project, which is in its very early stages, but that will be billions of dollars. So our duties are to ensure contract compliance. We do monitoring, oversight, and enforcement to ensure that our major contractors or our partners are meeting and adhering to any of the contract requirements for equity related to local contractors and to workforce.
Good morning. Earl Key, Senior Director of Transportation Equity for the Washington State Department of Transportation. As Bobby just described our mega programs, we also have several programs to try to assist minority contractors and women contractors on working with our projects. We have our WashDOT Sound Transit capacity building program, whereby we pair minority and women contractors with large prime contractors. Those prime contractors are to assist the minority women contractors into building capacity. Currently, that program is about, I believe, 70-something% minority and 20-something% women. So that is a good program. It receives good survey reviews. When we survey people, they indicate 90% approval and satisfaction with that program. We also have DBE supportive services. We have it on the federal side, we have it on the state side. Currently, we have a lot more money. I think we have around about $1 million for state DBE support service, state minority business enterprise support services. And then we get about $200,000 from the feds for our disadvantaged business enterprise program, which is the federal program. In addition to that assistance, we also have a program whereby the contractors can hire consultants as they need them, and WashDOT will pay the cost, whether you need assistance with accounting, back office help, that sort of thing. We will also pay for those types of consultants. Any questions?
Thank you. Happy to be here today. Nate McCoy. I'm from the great state of Oregon. I'm the president and CEO of the National Association of Minority Contractors, our Oregon chapter. I'd like to humbly say we're probably the biggest chapter in the nation with a membership of 170 growing. I don't like to use the term minority, but we use opportunity businesses because none of our businesses are in business for the minority piece of the pie, they're in for the majority. And our combined revenues are over 300 million, with two of the largest in the nation, doing over 100 million a year. One included in this, hopefully getting it done in the state of Oregon, this I-5 Rose Quarter project that's in the bottleneck of travel from California to Washington State. We just landed a almost $1.6 billion project with a contractor of color who is Raymore Construction leading the project's DB goals. So overseeing as a DBE contractor himself over a $200 million spend with a joint partnership with Sun and Hamilton Construction in the state of Oregon. We didn't get there by chance, and I look forward, because I've heard of you gentlemen up here on the stage, my good friend Greg Johnson at ODOT, about WashDOT and the work that they're doing for the IVR Bridge. And so let's say this Raymore Construction Company will be probably the nation's first, if they can get there, 300 million plus contractor a year contractor with over 100% people of color that work at Raymore. I say that because I don't think we have a blueprint across our nation of how do you come through these government programs, scale up to the point where you are economically independent. They don't rely on SBA loans, they don't rely on any of the government-related programs at this point, but they are building a war chest of growing companies that need capacity, need training, and that's what we do at Raymore, Oregon. We are probably the only chapter that acts as an owner's rep for public agencies. My background is in architecture and construction management. Cut my teeth at the city of Portland, so kind of a unicorn in some of these spaces where I'm a consultant and advocate on the outside, but with over 10 plus years of construction experience in government. So when we talk about compliance and regulatory agreements and workforce agreements, which is something I hope we talk a little bit about today, that's something that we want to make sure we share with our Washington State chapter. So I was asked by Mr. Brad and our local affiliates of NAMAC here to come north and talk to you all because I think we have a loud voice in Oregon and work with a lot of our federal delegates directly. So just very happy to be here to share more observations around capacity of these contractors, workforce, as well as access to capital. I know we don't have any bankers in here, but that's going to be a big topic for me. So just very humble to be on this stage with some brothers and looking forward to the discussion today.
All right. Thank you, and good morning. My name is John Wellens, and I'm the Chief Development Officer at SeaTech Airport. It's delighted and excited to be here this morning. Thank you, Brad, for inviting me. A little bit about myself before I get started. I've been with the SeaTech now going on 5 months, right? So I've been drinking from a fire hose for the most part. A lot to learn, a lot to get the speed up on. So also, before I came to SeaTech, I started my career in Atlanta, Georgia, at Hartsfield Atlanta International Airport. I spent about 15 years there. Then I left and I went to Houston Airport System. So spent another 8 years in Houston and now here. So great place. Still need my GPS to get around. So I did have to prepare some notes. Just I make sure I able to talk a little bit about the airport and what we're doing with our capital development program. So since I've been there, over the next 5 years, the airport will be managing and executing projects with the largest CIP and annual spending at SeaTech in history. So this is a very exciting time for us. The airport is anticipating a steady incline in passenger growth over the next several years. This continual growth has caused the airport to prepare and plan within its capital program the ability to balance and balance current and future passenger growth. So that's huge for us. Our capital program right now is basically trying to keep up with our demand. And so demand, is gonna move faster than what capital and infrastructure can do. So that's kind of, where we at right now. our 5-year capital program currently is in the neighborhood of $5 billion. That's over next 5 years. But then over the next 10 years, we're looking at $10 billion. Currently, CTEC is already commenced on $2 billion worth of those major capital programs over the past 2 years. So we're underway with our CIP program. A lot of work, a lot of footprint we're trying to cover. And the current capital program does not take into account currently our airport master plan, which we refer to as our SAM. So we're looking now internally and trying to figure out, doing all the planning, do all the environmental assessments that we need to do. And right now, it's not a part of that $10 billion that I just mentioned. So once we, get to getting these environmental plans and everything approved, then, that what we're looking at now is our CIP increasing probably somewhere between another $5 to $10 billion. So we got a lot of work on the horizon at CTEC. And also, so the annual spending for the next 5 years will nearly double compared to past years. So just to kind of give you a reference, over the last 2 or 3 years, I think we've nearly spent around $400 million annually in cash flows. What we're projecting and planning now is a spend rate upwards of $1 billion annually. So that's a major increase from what we've done in the past. And so there's a lot of work that has to go into planning for that and making sure that the airport's prepared for it. With this significant growth in spending, will create, a challenging work environment, not only to execute the number of projects within the capital program, but also delivering projects while not compromising our, current operation and customer service level, which is very and extremely important to us. Therefore, it will be imperative that the capital team is prepared with the appropriate internal and external resources that we're going to need with this demand. So, we're excited about what we're doing. We got mega projects, and to kind of give you an idea, we have probably a total of 150 ongoing projects right now at CTEC. And our mega projects, we have about 5, which have budgets over $300 million or more. And when you add up, with those total projects or mega projects, they're nearly account for 50% of that $5 billion budget that we have. So these are extremely, major projects. And just to kind of name a few, we have our baggage optimization program. We have our Sea Concourse expansion project. We have our Sea Gateway project, and then we have our South Concourse evolution and main terminal renovation. Now, Sea Concourse evolution is the largest out of the 5 mega projects that we have. Right now, it's projected to cost us about $2.3 billion. That project right now is currently in planning. We've gotten our program management team on board. We just finished negotiations with our CMAR, and I think in this region we call them the GCCM. And so we are setting up and getting ready to rock and roll in that project. It's going to be a very complicated project. It's going to be a seismic project where we have to go in and redo all the steel and the support and infrastructure, as well as going in there doing some upgrades to our gates and renovations inside the building. And so right now, that's really what, sitting on our plate and got everybody busy. So we're very excited about that project as well. So just in summary, we're very excited because at CTEC, again, this is our, largest program in history, cash flow. We'll be spending upwards of $1 billion, per year over the next 5 years, which means that the contract activity around the airport will nearly double in man hours while having limited space to do the work. I mean, CTEC is constrained right now in terms of footprint. And so I like to look at it like, right now we can't really expand out. So what do we do in order to grow? So we either have to, go up, we have to go down, or we have to come up with innovative technology. And then we just have to, just come up with really innovations that will meet our demand. And that's kind of where we at this point. Also, with that increased work that we're doing, it's also going to create greater risk and impact to our airport operation, customer service, and non-aeronautical revenues. Because of these constraints, the capital program will not have the room for error, and we need to figure out how to make projects work by just basically thinking outside the box. Although the next 5 years will be tremendous lift by the entire CTEC team, The airport understands that this work must be done and, in order to meet the, C-Tech demand. So thank you very much, and I look forward to, sitting on the panel and, answering questions and just being a part of the summit. Thank you.
Just-in-time delivery. I'm sorry for the delay getting here. My name is Greg Johnson. I am the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program Administrator. So if you haven't heard about the Interstate Bridge replacement, this is I-5 over the Columbia River between Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, Washington. And this is a program that has been around for almost a quarter of a century. The last time it failed, the state of Washington declined to fund its portion. This time, the state of Washington went first. So we have a committed billion from the state of Washington, a committed billion from the state of Oregon, and 1.3 billion in tolling authority. So now we are wrapping up the draft supplemental process, the NEPA, part of the NEPA process, and we are steaming towards being, putting the shovel in the ground in 2025. So this is about a $6 billion project that will, once again, start construction in 2025, with the big bridge itself starting in 2026. But this is a 5-mile corridor with, gonna have a number of opportunities. There will be over 20 separate contracts that we will award to get this work done. We are having meetings with DBEs and small businesses. We had a meeting back in June. We plan on having another this fall just to get folks up to speed. I see my partners are here from both WSDOT and from NAMAC, so we have been having good conversation about how we maximize DBE participation in a mega project. So this is going to be a tremendous undertaking. The construction itself will probably last from 8 to 10 years. And once again, this will present opportunities as we're looking towards numbers as high as a 20% DBE percentage on $6 billion worth of work. So it's gonna be a lot of work over a number of years, and we're trying to make sure that small businesses, DBEs, are ready. So we will continue to have conversations with our partners. So the IBR is a creation of the two DOTs. So I'm a shared resource between the Washington State DOT and the Oregon DOT. And once again, we're looking forward to making sure that folks are aware and have ample opportunities on this important project.
Thank you all very much. It's amazing to see so much money going through so many agencies represented by such good-looking guys. Thank you all for sharing that information with us. Congresswoman Strickland is here, so we're gonna get started with the next panel. And Earl, you're on that panel. Nate, we're gonna leave you on the panel. And Brenda, if you wouldn't mind.
Would you all mind if I got a picture with the light behind you? It's not a very good picture. So if we could just have y'all like stand here.